Hey there, submarine fans. It's Eric with the subvet.com coming to you from Bottom Gun Coffee Company Studios in Aurora, Colorado. Hey, it's our first show of this podcast series called 15 Minutes of Submarine Life. And I got my first guest to commission the show, submarine veteran Jamie Ferguson. Welcome to the show, Jamie.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Hey, and thanks for coming here for our first podcast show of 15 Minutes of Submarine Life. So it's kind of a play on, 15 minutes of fame. So obviously we're going to give you more than 15 minutes. So it's 15 to 30 minutes. We're going to keep it short because people like short podcasts. And this is a good way for people to kind of get their bio out on the Subbet platform and get submarine stories out there that people want to hear it. So what's your story, Jamie?
Oh, geez. Well, I joined right out of high school. I kind of always knew I was going to the military. I didn't know what. Top Gun was really popular, and so the Navy seemed good. I originally joined to be a surface fire control guy, which is like shooting missiles off surface ships.
Yeah,
and when I was in my first
funny thing you say that the Top Gun, because everybody was joining in. I want to fly planes, and they're like, "Well, sign here. We're going to get you on that."
1986, you got an F-14 in boot camp.
So. Everybody got
one. Anyways, when I was in my first electronics school, and I was kind of regretting my decision for the job I chose, and the instructor I had was a submarine guy, and which I didn't know what submarines even were, except for like Disneyland, which is completely different. But so he goes, read this book, and it was Hunt for Red October, and it was way too long before the movie, and I read it like in 4 or 5 days, and I said, wow, this is for me. And I said, what do I do next? He goes, you got to go talk to the sub detailer on the second floor or second deck, the Navy. And I went down there, and he goes, the only jobs we have open are sonar techs. And I said, sign me up. And literally, that was the amount of thought process that went into it. It was
so. It was the book that set you off. I didn't read the book. I watched I'm a missile tech. I watched the movie. Of course I did. No, but the book really, it was a little bit better in the movie. Explaining, got you that.
Very in depth about the sonar and the nuances of that kind of thing. And
Jonesy, the whole thing.
The Cold War was still going, and I wanted to go chase commies.
So so back then in the 80s, it was usually like 6-year billets. Is that what you signed up for? Because the
I joined the advanced electronics program, and it was a 6-year commitment.
Yeah, it was usually.
Of course, I went to the recruiting office.
2 years. Yeah, year and a half to 2 years to get before you even got to a boat back then.
Yeah,
so
it was a little more than it's close to a little more than a year and a half.
Yeah, so good stuff. So become a sonar tech, and your class you score so high, or it's needs of the Navy, and they finally say, well, we're going to give you a couple options here. So what kind of boats were you looking at?
Let's see. So we got our orders in. Well, so you go through A school, which is like your first school. After it's like your first sonar school. They teach about oceanography and that sort of thing, and your class 10 in there dictates what program you go into, whether it's a missile submarine program or a fast attack program or something like that.
Did not know that.
Our class only had old boomer systems, like the old 640 class.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I was very depressed over that. I wanted to, like I said, I wanted fast attacks. I wanted to go chase bad guys.
There's no action on the boomer. You knew that. Right?
No action, especially for a sonar tech. You hear something, you run the other way. But,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know what happened. The chief of the school we were in, he was an old crazy guy, and honest to God, me and this other guy had a seance one night with him. And I kid you not, a week later, the orders came in, and both me and this other guy had orders to the 2 diesel boats.
No kidding.
Unheard of. They were both forward deployed in Japan. It wasn't a fast attack, but it wasn't a tac sub. It was
diesels were phasing out at this time. I mean, it couldn't have been that.
Yeah, I think there was I was on Darter. There was the Barbell. That was our sister ship. I think in San Diego, there's a Blueback and the Dolphin. And the Dolphin was a research boat. And then on the East Coast was the Bonefish, which had a fire right after I got my first boat, which scared the hell out of everybody. But it's life. Yeah.
So back then,
and
no, I don't mean to interrupt, but back then, there was, because nowadays it's just a nuclear Navy, it's boomer and a fast attack. But back then there was the diesel boat guys, and everybody kind of thought they were a little bit better than everybody else. But, well, I mean, how did it go in a diesel? I mean, is there much action compared to a fast attack? Same or
a lot more port calls. That was action.
Yeah.
We play war games, and usually they'd billet us to be with the the third world Navy, with the Malaysian Navy or the South Korean Navy or whatever, when we go against the American Navy. And usually the American Navy would wipe out the surface fleet, and then we'd take out the Navy. So it was kind of fun. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, it was interesting. I mean, the sonar system we had were serial number 1 and 2. They're literally copies of the German systems. It was old school troubleshooting. It was you rack the system out, and we had old tubes like in television. They used to have the markets at the front desk. And so you'd look for a tube that was on fire or burning, and you replaced it, and that fixed it.
Yeah.
But it was old, and we didn't even submerge that much. I mean, we were only most of the time, because on the Darter it was like a World War II ship, so we rode the surface a lot better.
Without bothering OPSEC, what was those 3 humps on the Darter? That's like there's 1, 2, 3, I think, all the way across.
Oh, okay. So those were puff domes, which were a passive underwater frequency finder. So you could triangulate ranges with it. Nobody knew how to use it though.
So the thing's sitting on top. What are those things for?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I painted them all the time.
Yeah. I posted some pictures of that boat recently. It was a port calling.
When we pulled into Hawaii, people were blown away. Nobody saw anything like it. It was like an old-fashioned submarine. So
yeah, pull on. So what happened next? We're on the Darter.
So the submarine was decommissioning. We were in Hawaii, and with the schools I had already, I was kind of locked into going to the East Coast on a boomer again, which I did not want. And they gave me the option. They gave me the option to sign my paper. They gave me $15,000 and another year of school. And I had to add 2 more years to my enlistment, but I figured, and they also boost in ranks, so you got a lot of pay.
That wasn't unusual. A lot of people are a STAR program, I think they call it.
STAR program, yeah. It was the only way to make second class as a sonar tech. You couldn't make second. And so I was the bull third for a long, long time on the sonar, which meant I was the most senior third class, but you're still third class.
So you really like the Navy. I mean, obviously you started. I mean, it's because the first 3-4 years of Navy can be really rough, and a lot of people just say, "That's it, I'm out." But
I did it.
Not too bad.
No, I wasn't crazy about it. I did it to have basically a break in San Diego for a year.
Okay.
I had a relationship, and I was trying to rekindle it after being overseas, and that was a stupid endeavor anyway. But it got better. The Navy got a lot better after I did that. For me, it did. The diesel boat, they were like pirates. It was a whole different ball game for a junior sailor. And
I bet it, because everybody was war gaming with you. That would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I was, but just the crew. I mean, I was 19. They were very harsh. They were overseas, so we were like 4 or 5 years behind all the hazing rules, and nobody even knew we were there. So it was pretty hardcore, and but it once you get your fish, like any boat, things get better, and it got a little better and a little better and a little better, and then. So after I finished those schools, I reported to the squadron, and in San Diego, I got orders to the USS La Jolla, which was it was pretty cool. It's a hometown team in San Diego,
Right.
Older boat, not older, but it was just came out of refit. It was pretty modernized, and I was put in charge of guarding the barge while they were on a deployment.
Yeah, that's important.
At Christmas, and I'm standing in front of the barge with my billy club, thinking how great it is to be in San Diego, and I work 8 hours. There's no duty days, and the sun's not going to be back for another month, and
yeah.
And the squadron master chief comes by and goes, "What are you doing on watch?" And I go, "I'm supposed to be." He goes, "Ah!" And he walked away screaming. I'm thinking I did something wrong in Pacific Beach or something like that.
Yeah.
And they called me into the captain's office, and they said Louisville needs a sonar tech for they're going to Desert Storm. Everybody knew it.
Oh boy.
And
that's right.
You could either volunteer or get it. So I got voluntold, famous Navy term.
Yep. That's the General Navy order. Yep.
And so that was December 23rd. I left the 26th for 9 months. They cut me 9 months of advance pay. I had to go take care of a speeding ticket, all these other things, and this before direct deposit. No, there was no direct deposit or
speed ticket.
Like
yeah, I've had to do that maneuver too. Okay.
And yeah, they said pack your bags. You're leaving for 9 months. And turned out, so we ended up going to the Red Sea. We were all freaked out that we're gonna have to go to the Persian Gulf because there's still mines, and back then we didn't have the mine detection.
To get out there, long transit time.
13,000 miles. We actually set the record for the fastest transit from point A to point B.
Oh, you guys were booking it. Okay.
Yeah, we made it there really quick. And then we got there, and the captain was pushing to get there before the war was over, I think.
Yeah.
But we got there, and literally we were on station for I want to say a couple hours, and we got a flash message to launch, and one of my best friends to this day came to my rack, and he goes, dude, we're gonna go launch missiles. So I didn't think anything was gonna happen, and I'm like, don't wake me up for a drill.
That's what they always say.
And I started hearing all the curtains opening. And I'm like, well, something's going on. So I went up to Sonar, and sure enough, we're going to battle stations, strike warfare battle stations, they called it, for a cruise missile launch. And I think we did 3 or 4 salvos. And then literally we were there 6 days, and we left. We were out of missiles, and the war moved so fast. The closest missiles were in Guam, so we had to go all the way back to Guam. And they offered me to stay there.
I got some questions. I don't mean to say I got to. I mean, when you launch those missiles, did the crew just go through everything like they did in drills? Was it just seamless? And
it was muscle memory. I mean, it was really cool in Sonar. They rotated everybody through, so you could be on watch during a launch, which is it's something to say. Mm-hmm. So one salvo, I was battle stations repair tech, which meant I hang out in the electronic space with phones and wait for something to break. Another time I went to cruise mess and actually got to watch the missile launch through a paravis, which is, the captain's view from the periscope. And then the third launch, I actually got to be on, I was on the stack, and I confirmed, they call it booster splashdown, which when the missile comes out, a rocket motor builds up to speed, and then the jet turns on and the rocket falls off. So it's like 5 miles down range, and it just indicates a successful launch. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
That was pretty cool. And we got
clear the area though after you launched, make sure there was nobody. No one. I mean, I doubt there was anybody around. But
well, when we launched one of our launches, I don't remember which one, but they did they went around with the periscope, and you just saw plumes coming out of, just all over, going straight up of missile launches. It was, I want to say, like 18 or 19 missile launches. I mean, at 360 degrees around us, probably miles away. But
USS Louisville was the first one, right?
Louisville, yeah, we're the first sub. There was a sub in the Persian Gulf that launched, but they weren't in the combat zone, and so I still think we should have got a War Patrol pin. Well, I still think we should have got a War Patrol pin. They wouldn't give us one, but we all wore them on our ball caps. So
that's great stuff. Okay, so you had to go reload somewhere. You said it was a long train.
Yeah, so we're in Guam, and I wasn't really happy with the command. And I knew some guys already on the La Jolla, and I knew they were getting ready to go on a real West Pac, which is Western Pacific and tropical islands and that sort of thing. And so I went back to, they flew me back. Unbeknownst to me, the war ended, and the Louisville pulled into Australia for a week. I missed that. But anyway, I got back to La Jolla, and we started working up for our deployment. And we did a deployment, and they sent me back to do some schools to become a sonar supervisor, which was kind of my lifetime. My goal in the Navy was to become a sonar supervisor.
Just like the book, right? Yeah.
Just like the book, I wanted to be a sonar supervisor on a real mission. And while I was in one of the schools, I had well, do you have any more questions before I get to the next part?
No, it's pretty good stuff. So go ahead and continue on. I didn't mean to stop.
All right. So when I was in one of the hardest school we can go to as a sonar tech, it's called Sonar or Submarine Sonar Subjective Analysis, SSSA we called it. And basically you memorize about 300 frequencies inside of a month. It's like an immersion program. And it's so you can look at a submarine's sound profile, and it's like a fingerprint, and you're supposed to be able to recall it by memory. Right. And really hard school. And I was acing it. And I was pretty stoked. I was halfway through the program. I just moved in with my girlfriend. We had an apartment in Ocean Beach, a block from the water, and paying $550 a month. I didn't know how I was going to do that, but
yeah.
Anyways, I went to go check the surf on my mountain bike, and the cliff gave out, and I fell off the cliff. I fell like 75 feet, and I pretty much broke everything. I broke my neck, my back, my arm, fractured my skull, broke my leg.
Well, you're just real close to the edge, and it kind of slipped.
Well, there's sandstone cliffs, and there's signs all over that say danger unstable cliffs.
And we don't pay attention to that, of course. Yeah.
What kind of idiot's going to fall off a cliff? I'm a combat veteran. I'm tough as nails. I'm a submariner.
Right.
Nothing's going to happen to me. I was literally on top of the rolls, right. Until I fell off.
Yeah.
And so I got when I went to the hospital, my girlfriend was the first one to find me. Actually,
were you conscious when you got to the bottom?
I guess when the life flight got to me, I was able to mumble, but I faded right then.
Wow.
And then And then my girlfriend saw me on TV. They're pulling my bicycle up with a helicopter.
Oh, it's on TV already.
And so it's on the news. And so anyway, she called my parents or my mom. Yeah, she called my family, and they all came down. And basically, they let everybody come in to say goodbye to me because they didn't think I'd make it through the night.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
If I did make it through the night, they said I'd be a quadriplegic or brain dead. And a couple of days, I started wiggling my fingers. And a couple more days, I started wiggling my toes. I had a ventilator. I couldn't talk or anything like that. When I was stabilized, I moved me to the Naval Hospital, and it was kind of cool because all the doctors at UCSD, they had just come back from Desert Storm also, so they were really good on trauma. And then they were all Navy doctors that were rotating. They were rotating, so they went back to Balboa. So I kind of had the same doctors for the whole process.
That might have saved your life too. Who knows?
Yeah, and so when I was at the Naval Hospital, they came in one day and they're looking at the X-rays, and they said, when was your accident? This is early January, and it was the last month of last year. And I said, well, it was December, but it was last year. Which one do you want? I was always kind of a smart ass.
Yeah.
Especially with officers. But I like doing it in a subtle way where they couldn't really prove anything. It was plausible deniability. So anyways, they said, you're making bone faster than anybody we've ever seen, and you could start walking as soon as physical therapy says you could walk. So I took my first steps in 5 weeks. I got sent home in 9. I had one of those crazy halo scalpels on my head.
You felt like you were fighting this the whole time. You knew you were going to get you had a focused plan saying, I'm going to get better.
It was to get better, but honestly, it was the whole process of going through quals and becoming a true submariner that I think really pulled me through. It was like, you're not going to break me. You can't break me.
It's good that
I'm not going to let you break me.
Part of that. Yeah, that's good stuff.
And I've always been a very stubborn person. And if you tell me I can't do something, stand by. If I can't do it, I'll fall over dead.
Yeah.
If I really want to do it.
Now I had something similar, not as bad as you, but I had to go to a med board and then end my Navy career early. I mean, it was sort of the same thing for you, or?
Yeah. Well, so during limited duty, I ended up working in the same office that I was in for school, and the Master Chief really liked me, and I was like his son, basically, and he called the detailer and pulled a whole bunch of strings because I didn't have enough seat time, and called the chief surgeon at Balboa to sign off that I could go to full duty. And he goes, this guy can't go back on a submarine. He goes, he's not going to go back on the submarine.
He's never going to go.
He's going to be an instructor. And so I ended up getting a short duty teaching a teaching school for 3 years, and that was cool. It gave me a nice little. I knew I was going to have to get out, and it gave me a transition to what I want to do.
How long did you say you did that? The instructor duty?
I was on limb for a year, and then I did 3 years of instructor duty.
Wow! So this is post-accident, three years.
Yeah.
Wow. They really made an effort, and they took advantage of your experience.
He was a great guy. This Master Chief.
Outstanding guy. It sounds like
he was an acoustic intelligence writer, a specialist. Really, just super smart. Used to help me write my college papers.
He helps you. You were his son. You were his son.
I was. And then they switched out. And the new guy that came in hated me and loved the other guy. And it was just kind of funny because me and the other guy were best buddies. And I went from top of the list to bottom of the list. But for the whole time I was there, like me and this other guy, we're always rated the top second classes. We're always one of us for instructor of the quarter, instructor of the year. Our whole office was a very high caliber of guys.
Wow, that's great story there.
So when I was in the hospital, I realized that anybody, really anybody could be a doctor if you want it. It was just they went to more school. I mean, I think you have to have an average, above average intelligence, but it's just somebody that went to more school. Before that, I was like,
Did you finish your undergrad while you were still in the Navy?
Yeah. No. I finished. I was going to junior college for 4 years. I took so many classes they pretty much kicked me out. When I got out, I had a year and a half left at San Diego State, and then I applied for dental school. The captain of submarine training facility in San Diego wrote me one of my letters of recommendation, and you'll like this one, Eric. So, how does anybody write your letter of recommendation? What do they tell you?
Oh, well, they do it in.
They tell you to write your own.
Yeah,
they tell you to write your own and send it to me, right? So I'm like, well, how do I? Because I had all these letters of recommendation. I had to write them all, and it's really hard to make it sound really good from 4 different directions. So I found
that was
my
smart of
NAM
being
letter that I
young
got
to,
out.
to do that. Yeah, to
Right.
write them so they
But
look good to the med. Is it a med
Exactly.
board or what do they call it?
No, this is for dental school. This is for applying for dental school.
So
I had been out for
it's
2 years.
It's like a
at this
med
point.
board, but it's something different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I found my Naval Achievement Medal letter that I got when I was getting out, and I just copied that, but I added the national security of the United States suffered a great loss today. I was honorably discharged. And so
but you used all the same wording because that's what I was kind of getting to.
Oh yeah,
fancy
yeah.
wording.
And so he called.
I didn't think you wanted to use that.
No. He called me back, and I think he was a 1-star at this point, and he's laughing. He goes, "I told you not to be shy, but really?" And he goes, "I signed it." He goes, "I thought it was funny." So, the dental schools are getting this letter from an admiral with a star at the top saying, I was responsible for the national security of the United States. It's pretty
Why
cool.
not?
And I got in. So
yeah. Of course they
I had a lot of,
we got a war here.
I had a lot of support from people. It was a lot of Navy people gave me a ton of support. So
yeah, so
and even now I see about
me too. So I mean, that's good stuff when they do that. So you went to dental school, and what kind of challenges with that? I mean, looking back on your quals, I mean, how hard would you say dental school? Did it help you out, or?
I think I was a little too mature when I went to dental school because if I thought it was BS, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And they're very detailed in dental school and med school.
Right.
So it took me a little while to get on pace. Once I got on pace, I was fine.
How many years? Is that
I think I had a better advantage with communication and stuff like that. As far as dealing with people and stuff like that, I thought I was better at it.
How many years is the dental school program total?
The program I went to was a 3-year program, but it was 4 9-month back-to-back years. So it was 4 years.
4 years. Okay.
All are 4 years. Yeah.
And then you got to go out and do what like an internship or?
No, see, one of the reasons I picked dentistry is you didn't have to do an internship. You didn't have to do a residency. Once you finish school, you take your licensure test and you go do it. So my girlfriend and then wife was a dental assistant. She suggested it.
Oh, okay. That's why. Yeah.
So it worked out.
What made you become a dentist? That was my next question. I mean, did you ever think about that as a kid, other than reading a book on Red? I didn't see any dentists in the Hunt for Red October book. So.
No, I didn't. Well, okay, this is a PG-13 joke. I tell people, because I have a lot of patients that say, "How'd you go from submarines to a dentist?" And I said, "I have a thing for dark, wet places." So, but anyway.
Okay, anyways, moving along.
Yeah, moving along. So, I wanted to be a doctor, but I didn't want to be a physician. I don't like dead people. I still don't like dead people.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Get that?
And at the time, my wife was like, you can't handle blood. You can't, whatever. But I was like, oh, it's just a mindset. And then I didn't want to be like a chiropractor because you can't prescribe an aspirin. And I knew being limited would weigh on me because that's not my personality. So dentistry had everything I wanted. It had autonomy, technology. You're kind of an engineer at the same time. You're building things.
Well, you got to have
and you're using your hands
too. I can't do that.
Right. It had everything I wanted, and I can't imagine doing anything differently now. So.
Now, do you do any of the specialties, or are you just a primary dentist? I mean, they're all hard. It doesn't matter. But
you're never just a general dentist.
Right.
A general dentist has
because you're liable to get anything at any time. You never know what's going to happen.
So. As a general dentist, I'm allowed to do everything, and you could pick and choose. No, I don't want to do that today. If a kid's screaming, you could send him to a kid's dentist. If a surgery is too hard, you could send a neurosurgeon. But I'm not limited, and I could do anything I want, which I like.
Because sometimes you get sent to an oral surgeon, but another time the dentist does the same thing as they sent you the oral surgeon for.
Right.
Well, what's going on here? So yeah. It's just all timing, and if you got time to do it or you want to do it. And...
Yeah, or or if rents do. Just kidding. It's something. When you have enough experience, you realize that's something that's a road I don't want to go down, or that's I don't want to do that case. So.
Yeah, most dentists are got pretty good customer service skills, with their patients. You're really happy type guys, and I mean, it looks like you enjoy doing what you're doing, and.
I do. And I actually have a few of my shipmates as patients. It's kind of funny. One guy, he's an A-ganger when I was qualifying, and he still scares the heck out of me. I'm so scared to work on him.
Yeah.
It's good times.
I had a dentist friend on the Canopus that worked on me the next day after we were out partaking and stuff. I'm like, you okay?
Nice.
You gonna be able to do this? I got it. Okay. So yeah, it's funny that you work on the shipmates. That's good stuff. So I mean, what a great story. So that's the whole idea of doing the 15 minutes of submarine life. It lets you tell the story. I try not to interrupt too much. I mean, it was a great story. Listen to how you got into submarines, why you got into submarines, your progression. And it seems like, you had some great things happening, and you got to go where you wanted, because you had a goal. And I said, I'm going to be a senior sonar tech supervisor, and that's what I want to do.
Right.
It seems like you met that, and then surpassed it by being an outstanding instructor.
The one part I missed.
What's that?
I just missed it. I just missed a qualification. I wasn't qualified, but yes, I got to teach the class.
Well, it's very typical being a sonar tech. So you got. You practically know how to run the boat like the captain in a weapon situation. The TMA.
Pretty much. It was one of the few jobs where there's a good chance you're going to have a lieutenant commander or a commander coming in and ask you tactical advice. Whether they listen to you or not is a different story, but they might come in and say, where's the best place I gotta hide from this guy, or where can we go to find this guy? And as far as depths and layers,
right.
We could do little tricks to slow down and let our tail fall under a layer, and they can't hear us and we could hear them, and all kinds of stuff like that. So
yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's sonar tech. We wish we had more time, but we're getting close to the end here. Hey, so Jamie, I appreciate you being there. A great story. Dr. Jamie Ferguson. I didn't want to say that at the beginning. I wanted him to lead into the story.
I'm just Jamie now.
It's just Jamie now. It was Jamie to us because he's a submarine veteran. He's a sub guy. He's just another submarine guy. Who cares? No, but a great story. Appreciate
the nickname was Bonk.
Bonk? The whole time?
Bonk was my nickname because I couldn't walk from one end of the boat to the other without hitting my head or my knee.
What, are you over 6 foot?
No, I'm a fighting 5'9".
5'9". Yeah, well, usually the taller guys got to dodge and weave and stuff. I mean, like guys 6'1", 6'2", they're all pink.
Yeah.
So
on the Darter, we had old-fashioned watertight doors. So we had 5 watertight doors. So
yeah, so good stuff. All right, let's get this wrapped up. So this is the subvet.com 15 minutes of submarine life. We appreciate Jamie Ferguson being here as our first guest, the commissioning guest. And we're going to wrap this up. And this show is sponsored by Bottom Gun Coffee Company. You can go to bottomguncoffeecompany.com right now, and you can get some of our new flavors, Southern Pecan, and you got the Hazelnut Blend. And we also offering decaf, organic decaf right now. And if that's not enough, you want to go back to the old thing, the old strong stuff, well, we got Ahab's Revenge, extremely strong coffee. Jamie selected Breakfast Blend, which is a great blend. I hope you enjoy it. We'll be sending that out to him and for being on the podcast today. Yeah. So once again, I appreciate it. This is Eric with the subvet.com on 15 minutes of submarine life. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we'll see you next time on the subvet.
This podcast was brought to you by Bottom Gun Coffee Company.